Welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Bargman. A few years ago, I wrote and performed a solo show called The Edge of Every Day, which was an exploration of the rough edges and contradictions we all face and grapple with. The show hit a nerve, and the relevance of the topic would only grow over time more than I could have foreseen. So, here we are. Real talk with real people, sharing stories and perspectives that spark provocative invitations to leap out of what's safe, on the edge of every day. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone. We are live in the hive. Thank you for joining me on this, the 39th episode of The Edge of Every Day here on talkradio.nyc. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, and for those of you who don't know me yet, I encourage you to check out my bio on talkradio.nyc, or, of course, you can visit my website, sandrabargman.com. And please tune in to any of my previous episodes with my inspiring guests. As my loyal listeners know, this show is about celebrating triumphs, pushing boundaries, and exploring rough edges. Through conversations and shared stories with friends and colleagues, it's my hope that we can begin to understand our edges. And what I mean by edges is those places where we are fearful, those places where we are resistant to change, those places where paradoxes and contradictions live in our beliefs and our understandings, both about ourselves and about the world around us. Those places we don't want to look. Listen, we live in turbulent times, and we are coming to understand that life simply isn't black or white. It must be an embrace of both. And the more we recognize our own edges and get real about them, the more we can help others to do the same. And that, I fully believe, can help to change the world. So, thanks again for tuning in. And without further ado, it is time to introduce our guest this evening. Anita Adams is a coach, speaker, retreat facilitator, podcast host, and entrepreneur. She is an award-winning leader and the founder and CEO of Joyful Inspired Living, an organization dedicated to teaching people how to tap into inner wisdom, to find clarity of purpose, and how to activate that purpose. Anita is passionate about helping people reconnect with nature as a means to connecting to their internal wisdom and to raising the collective consciousness. In 2003, she founded First Weekend Club, a national nonprofit organization that promotes Canadian film and talent, and remained the executive director through December of 2020. She runs retreats on Bowen Island in beautiful British Columbia, hosts the Joyful Journey podcast, and offers coaching programs that further guides her clients along their spiritual journey to their highest self, so they can step into their calling with confidence and create a life of purpose, passion, and great joy. When she's not working on her business, Anita is playing in the great outdoors with her adventure buddy and husband, either hiking, cycling, kayaking, or simply forest bathing and taking in the wonders of nature. Hello and welcome, Anita Adams.
I have to unmute myself.
It happens.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be here with you, Sandra. You're just such a gem and a gift to the world, and what you're doing. I love.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Right back at you. Anita, folks, you know how I always love to tell the story of how I know people. I think Anita and I were separated at birth.
I think so too.
We sort of have such this similar trajectory. And I met you through Sam Leibowitz, our fearless leader here at Talk Radio.
who I just met in person for the first time last week, which was
that's right.
Cool. He was in
up
Vancouver.
In your neck of the woods. That's right. He's traveling. Oh, so wonderful. How, what kind of time did you get to spend with him?
A couple hours. We were hanging out. We're both members of the Evolutionary Business Council. That's how I connected with him. And it was just so great. And I have to say, I thanked him profusely for connecting me with you, because I'm like, I just love her so much. She's so awesome.
Oh my goodness. Well, ditto. So, and then you had me on she has a fantastic podcast.
Thank you.
And Joyful Journey, and you had me on as a guest. And I mean, our pre-chat and that chat, we were like, my God, it was just so much fun, and just flowed so gorgeously.
And clearly the beginning of more to come, because we're both open to possibilities, open to going with the flow, like leaning in, which is part of our conversation today, leaning into the possibilities. And I am so confident that there's going to be some really exciting things that are going to happen with you and I. And I'm excited to explore what that.
And I love that you said that. And thanks to COVID, we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, and I marvel at, COVID was a major shit show for me personally. Because I know it wasn't for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Some people had the time and felt that the opening up of the because they were isolated, they felt the opening to work on something that they had wanted to do, but there wasn't an enormous shift in the work that they were doing. That was not my experience out of the gate, nor was it yours. Mm-hmm. So let's tell our audience what that was for you. Take us on that journey out of the shit show of COVID.
Yeah, well, I guess it was that time where everything was crumbling, was falling apart. And as you mentioned, I had another business that I was running that I founded that I was so proud of. It was I founded this organization that was all about promoting Canadian film and Canadian talent, and super passionate about it for a very long time until I wasn't passionate about it anymore. But I kept.
And when did that happen?
That happened about 2018. So,
and what did that feel like and look like?
That's a good question. I liked a lot of what I was doing still. I just didn't have the same pizzazz and zest for it. And there was some frustrations with it. And I wasn't living into that, like getting out of bed every morning going, yeah, this is what I'm here to do. And I want to live like that. I want to live like that all the time. And I knew that it was time for me to move on to something else. And yet I clung on to what I had created. And there were a number of reasons for that.
What were those reasons?
Okay, let me tell you. The first reason was the financial security, because I had a regular, paycheck that was coming in every month, and there was security in that. There's comfort in that. The other reason is I knew what I was doing, so there's comfort in that. And the third, and perhaps the biggest reason, because of the person I am, is that I was getting a lot of recognition. There was a lot of ego. I was somebody people wanted to know. I was invited to all the parties. I was traveling to film festivals around the world. I was sitting on panels as an expert in distribution and independent filmmaking. And it was exciting. It was really exciting. And I really liked holding on to that title. I loved saying, I'm Anita Adams, the executive director and founder of a nonprofit arts organization that promotes Canadian film. Woohoo, look at me. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like doing
I have no idea what you're talking about in relationship to that at all.
Yes. Yeah. So I was really clinging on to that. And that coupled with the fact that I had no idea what else I could do. I had no idea. I realized that a lot of my skills were transferable, but to what? What am I going to do? And I didn't know. So when COVID hit, And our funding, got hit, and all of our sponsors, pulled out, and they're like, sorry, we, can't give you the money right now. Maybe, check back with us in 6 months and we'll see what we can do, that sort of thing. And then of course the film industry literally shut down, like there was, boom, it was done. I was forced to, make a decision. Like, do I can fight for this. I can fight for this, or I can let go of the comfort that I was having with this. I could let go of the life raft that I've been holding onto for the last couple of years and try to swim to another shore, try to find another island that can be mine, that I can call my home. And so I let go, and then I bobbed in the ocean. To continue with that analogy, I bobbed in the ocean, feeling aimless and uncertain, and just like, what now? But I had the gift of time, to figure that out. And I went inward, and I started asking, what do I want? What do I really want? What do I want? And listen. And I really listen. And this is something I've been good at. I kind of weave in and out of over my life. There's been times where I've been really tuned into that inner wisdom, that soul voice that is guiding me. When I listen to that, life is great. And then I forget. I forget to listen. I get lazy, whatever it is. I stop doing the work and I forget. And that's, I forgot to listen, and I had to be reminded. That this is time to look inward and listen again. So,
yeah. And what did you hear when you started to listen? Well, actually, you said you've always listened to this. Would you consider yourself sort of a spiritual person, or someone that had the antenna?
So that's such an interesting question, and I've actually been writing about this. It's going to be an episode of my podcast coming up.
Of course it is.
Yes. Yes. I think, and I know we're going to go to a break soon, so I'll keep it really short. I think we all have the ability. I think some of us have a cocktail straw size antenna, and some of us have like this massive tunnel, like an oil tanker tunnel that receives the downloads. And with work, we can expand that little straw that we're trying to suck in the beautiful downloads and create a bigger tunnel. So, and most of us are somewhere in between, right?
Indeed. But I think to how we started out with this, I think COVID really was an extraordinarily powerful time collectively to call people to open that straw up.
I agree.
That really pulled the rug out from underneath a lot of people.
Yes.
And called people forward to, not that, you didn't follow the wisdom to create and think outside the box to start your nonprofit.
Oh, 100%.
And the courage to do that, but to listen to the next steps.
Yeah.
And it was just, and to begin to step out of the ego connection with, it was sort of, all of us were drawn beyond those ego identities. I believe if we were listening deeply. So
100% think you're right.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the very enormous edge between courage and surrender. When we come back with the glorious Anita Adams on the Edge of Every Day. Stay tuned.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours on the edge of every day.
And we are back with Anita Adams on the edge of every day. So let's talk about that edge between courage and surrender, that great paradox. People think of surrender as being this sort of weak stance and courage being this powerful arg stance. And which got me thinking when I was thinking about what I wanted to speak with you about. I just started, you know how this happens when you start to think of a word and you have your notions of what that means and your personal understandings. But I started to go, what does courage even mean? What is courage? So how would you answer that, Anita?
I think it's different for everybody.
I would
No,
totally agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree
in
with what
each
you
instance.
Sorry?
And different in each instance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we kind of hit on it a little bit before. One of us said, and it could have been either of us, that, courage is really stepping out of your comfort zone. And sometimes that might be even just getting up in the morning to move forward with one thing in your day. It doesn't have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be this big, bold action, but that could be a big, bold action. Well. Just getting up and moving forward,
being empathic to someone else's struggles.
Yeah.
Taking that stance.
Taking a stance.
Speaking up for someone, like somebody who has a bias, a racial bias or so, speaking up for others. The courage. Absolutely.
With the people I'm working with, my clients, largely courage is about, for them, it's moving into what they feel that their purpose is, and having the courage to lean into that, or even have the courage to try to understand what that can be. And what that involves is a real inward looking. You and I spoke about know yourself, know thyself. That is what courage takes to know thyself. You have to really, take that time to understand who you are. And that's an act of courage.
Completely and utterly. And I think about, in doing the solo show, The Edge of Every Day, and then moving into this, we always circle back to, I think the biggest edge is always the fear of change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that is everything we've just been speaking about, having the courage to look change, to embrace change. And that's where surrender and courage can come together.
Yeah.
So, before we get into surrender, this was another thing that popped into my mind while I was thinking of our conversation. Is there a difference between courage and willpower?
Is there a difference between courage and willpower? That's a really interesting question. That is a really interesting question, and I don't know how to answer that, to be honest. I think because I've never really thought about it.
Yes and no. I mean, it just to me it was go.
Yeah, it is both yes and no. Like you can, if you have willpower, you can maybe more easily lean into courage, but then you also maybe need to have courage to have a little bit of willpower. I don't know. I'm gonna have.
It was fascinating because I have a lot of willpower, but I don't know that. I mean, is the connection of willpower to, ambition and powering through something, and maybe not going within.
Maybe not going within.
And, but, in some instances, I have a lot of willpower and I'm going to just forge through
well, okay. I think that's really interesting. That idea about forcing through things. And I don't think that that's the answer. That's part of what surrender is about, is actually letting go of trying to force things and make things happen. And this has been really one of my biggest challenges, because I suspect like you and perhaps like many of your listeners want to make things
for me, Anita.
We want to make things happen, right? And we're doers. So it's like, okay, give me a task and I will do it. And once I know what I need to do, I'm just going to go for it.
Right. And that willpower.
That's the willpower.
Ambition. And how does that rub up with the courage and with the wait a second?
Yeah.
Be and listen before you take that action.
Right. So a message that I've been receiving a lot lately is to slow down and stop trying so hard.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's so freaking hard for me to do that because I just want to go. I want to know what the next thing is I'm supposed to do. And the next thing I'm supposed to do is slow down and not try so hard. I'm like,
yeah. And is that what you received? What did you receive during, when you really were getting the idea and really beginning to listen in deeply?
Yeah.
How did you get that message? How did you go within? How did you connect with your surrender?
Okay. Thank you for asking those questions. It's a big part of the foundation of what I teach actually. And it's I call it the 3 guiding principles to inner wisdom. And the first is about going inward. It's look, listen, learn. Those are my 3 guiding principles.
I love the alliteration.
Yeah, I know. It makes it easy to remember. Look, listen, learn. And the look is the looking inward. And for me, to do that, a lot of people do it in different ways. Meditation, of course, is sort of the, everybody really knows that that's, the way in. That wasn't a way in for me because I have a hard time quieting what I call the monkey mind that is so actively thinking about the next thing I need to do, looking like I'm a list maker, right? And I'm constantly just got things going on all the time. So meditation had been not so challenging for me now, but had been back then. And so my way of looking inward began with walking in nature, going for a walk every day. In fact, it was my business coach when I was massively stressing out about everything that was happening around me with my business, feeling like it was crumbling, not knowing what to do. We were supposed to move to India as well for a year, and that had to be canceled because of COVID. And the place we were living in, we were renting in North Vancouver, and the lease was about to expire and it couldn't be renewed. And so there was just all this stuff that was happening all at once, and I was feeling massively stressed. And so my business coach asked me, Anita, what do you do when you get stressed out? Like what's your calming mechanism? I'm like, well, I go for a walk in nature. And she's like, okay, Anita, I want you to go for a walk every single day for the next 30 days. And I'm like, what? No, I can't do that. I'm too busy. I need to know how I'm going to fix this problem. I need strategies. I don't need to be told to go for a walk in nature. And she's like, no, Anita, just do it. And I, in a sort of a grumpy way, I committed to doing that. And that's something about me is when I make a commitment, I stick to it. I really believe commitments are important. And so I committed to this. And the only way I was going to be able to make that work is if I got up really early in the morning and before everything else started with my day. And so that became my new ritual. I get up in the morning, put on my baseball cap and my sweatpants, and I'm out the door. And I lived close to a park and like a forest belt. And I'd be walking and I would be talking out loud because there's just me and the squirrels, and a few crows and whatever. Nobody else is up at this time in the morning, right? An occasional coyote I would see disappear into the woods. And I'd be like, what am I supposed to do? Like literally hands up in the air, and I'm like talking to God, the universe. What am I supposed to do? And I just like every single day. And slowly over the first couple of weeks, I started to actually calm down. I started to feel a little bit more gratitude for my environment, and I was noticing things and feeling present. But I kept asking, what am I supposed to do? And then I heard this response that literally bubbled up from within me that said, what do you want to do? And I'm like, what do you mean, what do I want to do? What am I supposed to do? And I full on had this argument with myself. And that voice was like, no, Anita, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Yes, you do. I don't. You do. What do you want to do? And I walked home just like flustered about this, this conversation I was having in my head. And later that day, I went to the bookstore, and I guess I was looking for something, and I found myself in the spirituality section, and there was a book there by Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, and it caught my attention. So I pull it off the shelf, I flip it open, and off the page leaps this one sentence that said, "Frustration and anxiety comes from not listening to your soul." And I'm like, right. I'm not listening to my soul. So I went back into the forest the next morning, and I started asking a new question. Instead of saying, demanding, tell me what I'm supposed to do, I started asking myself, what do I want? What do I really want? And it was almost a mantra. Like nothing came up at first, like I was just in nature, walking, feeling a lot more calm because I'm in this beautiful environment, feeling gratitude for this beautiful nature. And I kept asking, and then I started to get the answers. And the answers, the first answers that came up were a realization that I really did want to close my business. And that I knew it, but I wasn't accepting it before, those previous 2 years. And now I'm like, yeah, I really do want to close my business. I really want to wrap that up and move on to something else. And that was the beginning of something that's become a really profound experience, daily practice for me. And every day, 2.5 years later, I'm walking in nature every day, or being in nature and connecting with my environment. And more has bubbled up, a lot more. And about a year into doing this, I started to hear the voice to tell me to teach people how to listen to that voice. And I pushed that away big time. That really freaked me out. It's like, who am I to do that? Like I'm who am I? And the idea of sharing that publicly, like I've been a spiritual being, but I was a closet spiritual being that I would share with my closest friends. And I even didn't open up with my husband until, maybe 12 years ago, that I really wanted to be more spiritual, so, and we've been together for a very long time, and that's another story I'll tell you another time about how that all came about. Very interesting.
Well, I love I'll look forward to that when I see you, but yes. I love the levels of surrender. Mm-hmm. The different ways of experiencing surrender that you allowed yourself to go through, the stereotypical sort of screaming and yelling at it, and almost like shadow work, in the sense of, we think of shadow work as being only things we don't want to do, don't want to see, when in fact it's also things that are great, that we are somewhat afraid to embrace.
Right. Yeah.
And that sense of course I can teach this. I've been asked to do this, and I will surrender lovingly to this?
It took me a year, Sandra, to actually lean in with that one and listen to it. And maybe I'll tell you the story if you want to hear it after. I know
I would love it when we come back after. Yeah. When we come back after our break, we're going to hear the story of how Anita Adams surrendered on the edge of every day. Stay tuned.
Howdy, I am Joseph Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who will expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauver, employment law, business law attorney, and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours on the edge of every day.
And we are back on the edge of every day with Anita Adams. So let's hear that story, Anita.
Okay, thanks. But is that your voice singing just before we come back?
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. As a gift for being on the show, I send the CD. Hopefully you'll have a way of playing it. It is actually online. You can download it at CD Baby we're going to plug myself. Because why? Because I can.
Of course.
A CD Baby and Amazon.com. And the links are all on my website, sandrabargman.com. But you're going to get a CD and hopefully you'll have a place to play it.
I do. I can play
Excellent.
it. That's awesome. Thank you. All right. Let me share the story about finding courage. And it started with my husband and I decided to go on an extended kayaking trip. It was a 33-day kayaking trip from where we live here on Bowen Island up the west coast over 320 miles. I'm not sure what it is, kilometers. Over 320 kilometers. I can't do the reverse, but anyways, it was a distance, and we were in two single kayaks, and it was the first time that I had ever gone on a kayaking trip in a single. Previously, my husband and I have done a lot of kayaking trips in doubles, and I had said just to my husband the previous year that I would never do a kayaking trip in a single kayak. Yet here I am in the middle of the ocean. It is probably about day 21 of this epic adventure, and it was flat, calm, absolutely beautiful, beautiful, calm. You know, the sea and the sky just kind of blended into one. There was nobody else anywhere in sight. It was just me and my husband. He was about 10 feet behind me. It was really hot and beautiful, and I felt so at peace and so at one with my environment. And I had one of those bubbling ups of a message, and the message simply was, it's time. And I knew in that moment what that was. It's time, Anita, to lean in. It's time to listen to your inner wisdom, the guidance that is trying to take you to your highest self, the grandest version of your life. It's time to start teaching people how to listen to their inner wisdom.
It's time to move through that fear.
It's time to move through that fear. And also in that moment, I recognized that, wow, Anita, a year ago, I told myself I could never go on a kayaking trip in a single boat. Yet here I am. I found the courage to do that. How did that happen? Yeah. And I realized it was just taking little baby steps, little things that you can do to build your courage. For one, I was given a single kayak that I could use or borrow. And so I got out more regularly in this single kayak just for an hour or 2 hours at a time, and then a little longer, and then a little longer. And soon I was feeling really confident in a single boat. And I'm like, I can take that same principle of just baby steps and start to apply that to this. I don't have to become this, big whatever. I didn't even know what this was. I just knew that I can take little steps. I can just set the intention that this is what I'm going to lean in and do. And I surrendered to it. And the interesting thing is that almost instantly, things started to fall into place without me even trying. And one of the most interesting serendipitous moments was also on this kayaking trip when I had a bag full of goodies, if you will, my trail mix with Smarties and raisins and peanuts and banana chips. And I had it in a Ziploc bag wedged in between the sidewall of my boat and the seat. And it was another one of those hot days, and we were hot and tired, and I needed to have a snack. And I grabbed my bag of goodies, and it got stuck. And I just yanked on it, and something caught and ripped the bag, and Smarties and peanuts went flying everywhere. And I'm like, oh no, this is supposed to last me 30 days, and just like, I need these. And we were just off this beach, not too far up. And my husband said, let's just pull into this beach, and we'll get you a new Ziploc bag. You can clean out your boat. We'll save what we can. And so we pulled into this beach, and I'm cleaning up the boat, and down walks this lady on the beach that we landed on, and she's talking to Tom, and then finally my husband Tom, and then finally I walk up after I've cleaned up, and she's like, you look really familiar, Anita. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, it's Adele. I'm like, I had met this woman 2 years previously, and we had
Adele Anderson.
Yes, Adele Anderson.
I know Adele. Adele has been on my show.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
I love it.
So this was like, we were supposed to meet. I had met her in Los Angeles, actually. There was a conference that was being held down south, Upside Thinking. Lisa Marie, if you know her, she was putting on a conference. And so we met at this conference, but we just like surfacely met. We like, I like you, let's connect after the conference. And, we connected on Facebook, and I got home and I sent her a message. I didn't know she even lived in BC actually at that time. I sent her a message. I'm like, hey, let's get together. Let's set up a Zoom call and learn more about each other. And then COVID hit, and we completely, just everything dropped. We just completely forgot, and nothing happened. 2 years later, my bag of peanuts and Smarties explode. Like right in front of her house. And I had no idea that she lived up the coast. And so we chat. I'm like, okay, I don't believe in coincidences. I think there was a reason that I was meant to land on your beach. So when I get back from my kayaking trip, I'm going to give you a call, and let's just explore what that means. And so I did. And she was the one, I thank her profusely. She connected me to so many people. I told her during this trip, I started to think about what it is that I want to do. And I thought, I want to launch a podcast. I think I might want to.
It may be her who connected us.
No, it was Sam.
It was Sam. Okay.
It was Sam.
Anyway, I digress.
But she I told her that I was thinking about doing a podcast, and I'm thinking about doing retreats. And she connected me to a couple key people that just moved things forward like lightning speed. Like things just fell into place. And I am so grateful to that woman and all the people she's connected me to. And it was that reason, or one of those reasons. By the way, she's going to be part of our mastermind group. So like that, I invited her to be a part of that. And you know her. That's so cool.
Yeah. Lovely. Yes. Lovely. So now that we're on retreats, let's lean into your retreats and what you offer and how you run them and and what you hope people get from these retreats, et cetera, et cetera. And that should include your signature program. Oh, you've already
it does. And I can dive into that a little bit more if there's time. So let me just say that when I decided that I was going to go forward with the retreats, I was scared, really scared. Like it was really massively uncomfortable for me to put myself in that teaching position in a retreat space, exposing myself. And I knew that this could totally flop. It could totally flop. So I decided for my very first retreat, I decided to make it an invite only retreat. And I invited just a handful of people that I knew would give me honest feedback and that I could
also felt safe with.
That I also felt safe with. And I just basically charged them the cost of food so that they could, I wasn't going to be out of pocket and I could offer them an experience and get their feedback. And a lot of things worked and a lot of things didn't. And I got some really great feedback. And I'm so grateful that I did that I just leaned in and just went for it. Like I've never run a retreat or anything like it before. And I'm just going to go for it.
Well, this is the great lesson of doing that. And that let's highlight this lesson. Yeah. Everyone feels like they need to wait till they feel right about ready to do something. When it shows up, you just say yes. Big fat spiritual law. Just say yes. Of course, if you want to do it. Just say yes, move through the fear, and the wisdom and the elements will begin to move into the work.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was November 2021 was when I did my first retreat. And now I've done 9 retreats in total.
Fantastic.
And so I really just went for it. And each one has been slightly different. And I think slightly better. Like it just keeps getting better and better and better.
You're honing it.
Yeah. And I'm owning it. I'm honing it and I'm owning it, and I'm really making it, this is what I do. And I feel proud and confident in it. And I did not feel confident when I first did this. Not at all. Zero confidence. I was scared.
And that's the beauty of surrender and moving through it. So in our 2 minutes to break, you've talked a bit about listening but you haven't talked about learning.
Yeah, learning. So look inward, then listen. The learning aspect, it's kind of a multi-dimensional, and it comes really down to a number of learning the things you need to learn. That's the obvious, the things you need to learn to move forward. So with the retreats, I had to learn, what does it mean to be a retreat leader? I researched what retreats offer. I did some surveys with a bunch of people that went to a number of retreats to get their feedback. So I was learning at that level, at a much deeper level. And where I'm really coming from with this, and I think is the most important, is learn to love self. And that goes back to, it feeds back into the looking inward. When we look at it, feeds into stepping into nature, because when you step into nature and get present with your environment, you begin to love your environment. You begin to love that tree and that path and the ocean, the creeks, the leaves. You start to really notice and start to fall in love with that beauty that's around, the imperfect beauty, because it's not perfect. It's a mess.
No such thing as perfect.
Right. It's a beautiful mess in many ways when you go into the forest or into nature.
And that's internal.
It's exactly. And so when you fall in love with your environment, you can also begin to fall in love with yourself more, because you are investing time. you're investing time with yourself. You're investing time to get to know your soul by listening to it. And through that process, you learn to love. And love is why we're here. We're here to love ourselves. We're here to love others. We're here to love our planet. We're here. Love is literally is the answer. And yet we don't put the time and energy into us and to others to create that space of love.
Truly.
That's what my retreats are all about. It's looking inward, listening, and learning to love deeply.
I love that. Speaking of love. Okay, so we're ready for a break. And when we come back with Anita, we're going to find out about what her leading edge is, what's next for her. And maybe we'll have time to ask her a couple of fun questions. And then we'll get all the information as to how you can find her. When we come back on The Edge of Every Day, stay tuned.
Awesome.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours
on the edge of every day. And we are back. So, Anita, what is so prevalent about what you're doing is your willingness, and I think that this is such a big part of surrender and a big part of courage, is the willingness to be seen, the willingness to put yourself out in a way that is beyond, it's sharing your truth, sharing your voice, sharing your wisdom, and the willingness to be seen in that aspect, in that way. That's an incredible edge. And another thing that I love about how you phrase things is you say clarity of purpose. Am I going in and out of color, like pink and not pink?
I'm seeing a little bit of pink popping up. There it is.
There we go. Wow. Okay. Well, that's exciting. That is my aura.
There you go.
We're just going with it. But what I love, something that you talk about, because I think that find your purpose is so overused in the spiritual community. And what I love, how I love that you phrase it, is clarity of purpose, which to me implies that what you're doing, you're refocusing what is already your purpose. You're just going more deeply into, you're not going, you know what? That's not my purpose. That's my purpose, which makes me a little crazy about the community, is it implies that what you're doing is somehow incorrect, that it's not leading you to going a little more deeply into hearing that voice saying, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that you use clarity of purpose and not your sole purpose. Because, you know.
Yeah, I'd like to elaborate on that a little bit as well, as I don't feel like we all have just one purpose.
Exactly.
You know, it's like we are an evolving human being, and we are growing and stretching ourselves and leaning into a new purpose or a new version of that purpose as we go deeper into understanding who we really are. You know, like I look at my trajectory and my history. My film business was a really big part of where I am now. Like I was interviewing filmmakers and stars years ago, and now I'm interviewing people on my podcast, and it just feels so natural and comfortable. I'm really comfortable in that role. And I'm comfortable in that role because of all the years I got to do that before. I never would have thought in a million years that I would be talking about spiritual growth with people on podcasts. And however, that played an integral part in what I'm doing. And also, 6 years ago, I started up a business in the network marketing field. And I'm so grateful for that, even though it's a very small part of what I still do it, but it's a very small part of what I do now. I'm grateful for that experience because through that, I ended up meeting a lot of really deeply spiritual people. And I was really attracted to their way of being, their beingness. And it started to open me up to being more open and vulnerable and vocal about who I really am. And so that network marketing stone was an important part of my journey to get to where I am today. And I'm not at the pinnacle of it. I'm in another phase of my life, and I'm leaning into my purpose that I have discovered now.
Yes.
And there's going to be more yet to come. And I'm so excited to see where this is going to lead me.
As I am for you. So I want to talk to you about your leading edge. So what, if anything, do you have some project that's a part of this new vision, some project potentially, doesn't have to be, that you keep pushing back, some dream, something that you want to do that you keep pushing back on your timeline? And rescheduling? Is there something coming toward you that you can share what that is?
Yeah, I'm one of the things that I feel is part of what I am here to do. It's the teaching, of course, teaching how people tap into inner wisdom. And there's a number of different ways I'm leaning in to do that. And one way that keeps getting pushed is writing my book. And it really, it intimidates me. And I don't know I don't even know where to begin. And I've actually tried many times. I've got like so many different beginnings. And I know what I probably really need to do is hire a coach to help me with that process.
And I have a couple of
why I'm not doing that. Sorry?
I have a couple of friends that do that. Well, because you're afraid. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's another way of sharing your truth, and it's something that you haven't done. I mean, trust me, I'm sort of there myself.
But I put things out on Instagram and Facebook, and
you're a wonderful writer. I've read your blogs.
Thank you, and I feel confident in my writing in short form. Putting it into a book just feels big and daunting, and it scares me. It really does. And I know I'm going to do it. It frustrates me too that it's taking so long to get done.
Well, you have a lot of other things on your plate. I do also want to ask you about your nomadic life. How did you get to? She has a nomadic life, people.
Yeah.
Anita Adams and her husband and family live a nomadic life. So, what is nomadic about your life, and how did you make that leap?
That was one of the first things that came to me actually when I was in the forest in those early days when COVID hit.
Talk about surrender.
Yoo-hoo. Yeah. And so our children, they're adult children. Our daughter is 24 and our son is 21, and they both told us around the same time when we figured out we couldn't go to India and my business was crumbling, that they were going to move out on their own. And so I came home to my husband one day and just said, what do you think about just getting rid of all of our possessions and not worrying about trying to find a place to live? And let's spend the summer, because he's a high school teacher, just enjoying the summer without stress. And then we'll see what can land in our lap. And so we did that. And it was amazing the things that fell into place. We currently live in this most beautiful seaside place. And we're going to give it up in a couple months. We're decided we're going to go to Portugal. We're going to live there for 6 months and see what that's like. And then after that, I don't know. We'll just see, But we got rid of all of our possessions. Well, most of our possessions. We kept the toys. Yeah.
I love
the bikes, because my husband and I love, we're adventure buddies. We like to kayak. We like to, camp. We love bike riding. So we have a couple of two, we have 8 bikes. That's kind of ridiculous. I know. Right. But, I don't own a kitchen table. So
good for you. No, I love this. And I think that there's a real impulse collectively for this, not just downsizing, like letting go, surrendering. I think that, again, we have been called to that. But unfortunately, I want to ask you so much more, but we've only got 2 more minutes till the end.
Where did the time go?
I know. It's this way every week. I always have a million more questions than I can get to. However, I have so enjoyed our time together. Thank you so very much. Yeah. How can people find you?
The best way and the easiest to remember is the name of my podcast, which is Joyful Journey. And so just type in joyfuljourney.ca, and that will take you to a landing page where you can get some more information and sign up to connect with me. I have a newsletter. Yeah.
And a fantastic blogger. You can read all about the retreats.
Yeah. And the retreats they're really special. They're really special. So
I can't wait. And you're coaching. You work with people one-on-one.
Yeah.
And you are a speaker. So if there's anyone out there that needs a speaker to tell this extraordinary story of surrender and having the courage to lean into the next calling.
Yeah.
She's your girl.
Yeah.
And you are all over social media as well. So people can find you that way too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, again, Anita, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. It's always great chatting with you, Sandra. I really love the opportunity, and I'm honored to be here in this space with you and your listeners.
And I'm, as you said at the top, I'm looking forward to more.
Yes.
Amen. Cheers to more. More is more. Not less is more. More is more. Except when you're nomadic.
Exactly.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for spending this hour with Anita and I. Remember that you are always at the edge of the miraculous. So until we speak again next week, take good care. Good night.
This is our last dance. This is our last dance. This is ourselves under pressure. Under pressure. Under pressure.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargeman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be Frank About Health to advocate for all of us.
Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who will expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.